Wow, what an epic, epic day already. It is 7 o'clock on May 30th. We're still not over the day, and I'm just celebrating the day. How was your day? It is amazing here in the Toronto's, and it's been like that for the last couple of days. Just talking to my buddy Scott, and we were just comparing notes on where we were and where we were enjoying our days. And I was out in the back for the last 3 days, loving the like you said, the breeze and just the summer air and the ability to just do what we do wherever we want to do it. And that to me is like freedom, man. And I was reading, and we were talking about books today or just a little while, a few seconds ago. And I was reading the latest book from Benjamin Hardy, because as you brought up a book, and there's a piece in there where he talks a lot about freedom. And it really struck a chord for me about what freedom really is. And that's not the topic of tonight, but I just thought I'd bring it up because this is kind of what we built towards. What about you?
Ditto is the short version. And the last, Saturday, I went down with my son and dropped him off at his gig, and I went to a park for the day and just hung out. I read, I finished Bernadette Jiwa's Marketing a Love Story. I love it. Right where I am right now with that messaging I'm playing with. And then yesterday and today, I went to the beach for a couple hours just to kind of stay in my zone of genius and think time and prayer and meditation time somewhere else. And played a little bit with some Pomodoros to, yeah, it's just like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then tomorrow, and then Thursday will be like, yeah, and do it all over again. So thanks. It's fun. And it's like, okay, I go for a couple hours, get a little sun, have some dinner, and it's Tuesday night, episode 174, Marketing Made Easy. Joey
Right on,
Ragona,
man.
me,
We're here to
watching
do it.
live, hashtag live. You're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. If you're not a member of the tribe, the community, the Heart Center Marketing Club, Joey, with his amazing technology, will paste
Yeah,
that link.
my
Feel
my
free to
fingers.
share, and they'll be answered live or on replay. So, what are we talking about tonight, Joey Ragona?
Today we're going to talk about the buyer's timeline. I don't know what I'm naming this thing right now. That's what it's called, but it's the buyer's timeline, and because Atlas is coming up next week, and we talked a little bit about expectations and all these things a couple of weeks ago in the process of letting go of things. And I've not only had discussions with you and even on the lives that we've had, but with several people about that process. I'm calling it a process. I don't know if that's the right word for it. I've even had emails from people who have said things like, how do you get through this? Like, how do you just trust the universe that it's going to deliver? And my answer is basically, yeah. That's, it kind of sounds woo woo. I wish I had a more concrete thing. I mean, I do have concrete things with case studies and all this other stuff, but the problem is you have to go through it on your own. Kind of like anything with growth and entrepreneurship and business, right? We can talk all day long, but unless someone goes through it themselves, they won't know what that transformation feels like. So,
Totally agree, Joey. And I like what you said. How do you get through this? Trust the universe. And again, whatever the universe means to you, whether it's God, Buddha, Muhammad, Allah, the Tao Te Ching, the great unknown, the Mother Earth, divine, it doesn't matter. It's faith. It's hope and
yeah,
faith. Anything that, but the whole goal here is if you do what works, what's easiest, then it's easy to have faith in the universe and your higher power when you're doing something that works. You can't be like, I'm going to sit here in front of my computer screen and have faith that somebody magically is going to email me or call me and hire me.
yeah,
That's a whole different thing. It's having the faith in knowing something works. That if you go through the process, you and I do that. We learn something, we absorb it, we implement it, we play with it, we combine it with other things, and then we teach it and we figure it out and we put it out there, and then it comes back and keep going.
yeah,
Atlas, you did it, and each time it gets better and better, and it just becomes a tool
yeah.
that anybody watching that has. I pulled this out today
Oh, nice. Thanks.
because it's, last year when I stopped and just took 12 weeks to go through Atlas. Why? Because you and I have been talking about it for years. I watched it evolve, but I wanted to go through it as a user, and I attacked it with the ferocity of what I do things. And today it's like, okay, I'm playing with some things new here in my 12-week year of just focusing on what the thing is, and so here it is. And it's not just a course. It's kind of like I've told you that I will pay $5,000 one day for Gary Bensavenga's FUD factor. You do the same thing. You pay, thousands to have the collection. I did the same thing, and I've got it. So, not pushing the program again, but just the fact that when I went through it, I had already seen it, and I
Yeah.
had faith, and I knew that if I applied it and did it, it would work. It was that simple. And I did it, and it worked. And now I'm going to do it again, and I've got it. So what you give is you save people's lives, and it's not like, okay, great, I learned that. What's next? I got to go back into this thing again and again and again because go. Kali, welcome. That's the Facebook user, Kali.
Very
In
cool.
case you can figure it out.
There we go. Hi, Collie. Nice to see you. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It it's not really about Alice, but it was more about like believing and in yourself. And it's hard because even when I was talking about the from Benjamin yesterday, him and Dan Sullivan, like I just love them. And the conversation, or I guess the concepts are, they're really not concepts. I guess they're rules or rituals, or rules of how business works or how success works and all that. And it always comes back to that level of commitment that you need to put in at the beginning. And we always get this backwards. And I was one of them. I was, like, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and then you can commit to that, and then that. No, the book again reminded me yesterday about that nothing happens until after you commit. And it hit me in the face, and it was the theme throughout the book, constantly. Nothing happens until you commit. And I alone am in this zone of growth in a different way because I'm trying to build teams. Like, who's going to do this for me? Who's going to do that for me? I don't really know if I have the money to hire that person yet. And this hit me in the face all weekend. I'm like, man, nothing's going to happen until I commit. Because I'm kind of being a hypocrite by saying, in order to work with me, as you know, one of the things is like, you need to commit. Even though you don't have the money, you need to commit so I can get you the money and get you out of the thing. And then I'm here doing the exact same thing with trying to build the teams. Like, when I get enough money, then I'll go and hire that person, right? And so I'm like, no, I'm a hypocrite. Like, I need to actually commit and build a team, because what that does is not only help you, but it also forces your brain to think in a different way. First of all, is like, how am I now going to afford to pay this person? So it forces you into the next zone of actually being consistent and being complacent, and not complacent, sorry, committing to the actions, and then going out and being congruent, consistent with what you're doing, and learning the process, so that after you end up with confidence. But the commitment comes first. I always thought it was about confidence. It's like, yes, I believe this. I'm going to go do it. And then I'm going to commit to this. No, you need to commit to doing things first.
Totally and completely. It's the commitment and it's the accountability too. Because as we know, this online entrepreneurship is a lonely thing a lot of times. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Great. Who can hold you accountable? And that's a really important piece to me. Is that Tabitha's been with me on and off for 12 years, and it hurts sometimes. There's been times when it was like, well, we got to take a break, or the things that she does for me, I could do, but it's a waste of my time. And
Yeah,
that's what I learned a long time ago was I can pay you this, which means I take that hour and I go put it here to
yeah,
make this. It's tough. And then it's tough to find somebody too.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other discussion. I mean, but you're talking about who, not how, as well. That's a great book from again Ben and Dan. If
Yeah,
you're listening to
yeah,
this in this kind of this little segment of this show right now, which is the question is not what do I need to go do or how do I do this. It's who can do this, not how do I do this or how do I find somebody. It's no, who is the person to go do this for
right.
me. So yeah, it's the big learning experience. So let's get back
Thank you
to
for
the buyer's
sharing that,
timeline.
Joey.
What's that?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's get
Well,
to the buyer's timeline. I want to let's see here. Hopefully, I got all my stuff working here. All right, cool. Technology's working today. This is the buyer's timeline. That's the name for now. Let's put it up here. Come on there, little buddy.
a good working title.
Buyer's timeline. And a lot of this concept comes from Dean Jackson. It's not his thing, but a lot of times, or constantly, I'm always referring back to his like when people buy, like 15% buy within the 90 days and 85% buy within 18 months after they opt in. If only 50% of them opt in, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And I think he calls it the buyer's timeline or some kind of that as well, which is why I don't want to call it the buyer's timeline. So just to put that up front. But here's what this is. This relates to when people are asking, how long does all this stuff take? And please interject and ask questions along the way as well. The Facebook, all of our friends that are watching right now, even on the replay, please put it into the comments, reactions, anything like that. I'd love to get your responses, questions, challenges, all this kind of stuff. Because it'll only help me get better at teaching this and iterating what I'm trying to say here. Because a lot of the biggest question is how long will this take? And especially if I can't see what's going on, if I can't see people, if I have to believe. And there's 3 different phases of the timeline. And I'll draw them out for you here. The first phase, actually, I'll just do this. Okay. Do that a little bit better. Okay, so the first phase here is watch. And this is where, as you know, I've said it a billion times and I'll continue to say it, that your dream clients are watching you from the sidelines and they're spying on you. They're not engaging with you. They're not doing anything. They're just watching you. And the next phase is engagement. And the last phase is trust. So I'll go through these and explain why they're so important. So like I said, the first phase here is when they watch you. They don't do anything. They're in your group. They're on your email list or whatever it is. They opt into your thing and they went through your 5-day sequence and they didn't buy. And you're like, what's going on? And we're not saying to do that, but just to bring it to context for everybody else who doesn't know what we talk about, which is respecting their timelines. Then it's the engagement. So then they start to engage a little bit. They like things or they comment or whatever. They say something and you maybe get a response in your email, which is fantastic. And that's where you want them to be. And then the last one is the trust, where they trust you. And all of this has everything to do with pillar number 2. Which is serve, don't sell. All of this. And this here is day number 1 when they come into your world. And over here is day we don't know. We don't know what that day is. Some of this could be day 2. It could be day 10. It could be day 100. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. And everybody's going to be different. Everyone is different. And that's why this piece here, time, relates to our good old friend pillar number 3, respect their timeline. So we don't know how long this is going to be. For everybody's going to be in a different journey along there. So why is all this important? Actually, I'll stop there. Or should I finish off the chart and then we can ask questions? Or you can
Finish off the chart, Joey. You've explained it superbly. I'm following. I think everybody can.
Okay,
Hi,
cool.
Jeffrey. Hi, Lorna. Bye, Lorna. Enjoy your ice cream. Go on.
All right. So the reason this is like super, super important is because this first phase is all about old beliefs, your dream client's old beliefs. Old and current, I should say. Okay? So they have a current belief about whatever it is, themselves, about you, about the market, about their past and why things didn't work, all of that stuff. And that's the reason why they are in this phase of watching you. That's the reason why. They're just sitting in the background. They're not really paying it. They're paying attention, but they've got old beliefs. And that's important to understand because we'll break all this down and why this is all important. So I can't wait to get into the heavy discussion about this. Then this is about new beliefs. Can I spell? New beliefs, whatever. And as a matter of fact, like the whole thing up here is about new beliefs. So they get into a new belief about you, what they can do, all that kind of stuff. And then there's this extra layer. And I got to give credit to James, one of my Atlas members, who pointed this out to me and said, what about this? And so I want to give credit. This up here has another kind of hidden level, which is about validation. So now you've validated who you are, what you're talking about, how you can help them. And that's why they're in this trust zone over here. And all of this, as you can see, actually, before I do that, this one here is number 1, which is curate the tribe. Because the right tribe will listen to you. They'll come in and they'll hang around a little bit. Then they'll start to engage a little bit. And some of them will trust you and buy from you. And this all means that basically it's going like this. Someone comes into your world and it takes a little while for them to come over here and buy, right? It takes a little while for them to buy. And we don't know how long this process is. Now, sometimes, which is going back to Dean Jackson's 15% of people may buy within the 90 days, that's also true. Because someone can come into your world on day 1, and let's say maybe it's day 2, and they go straight up. They watch, they start to engage, and then they trust you, and then they buy. As you know, I just told you about someone who came into my world last week, and today they're now in Atlas. So that's like a week-long process. However, I have no idea, how long that person has been watching. But all I know is that the engagement part happened very, very quickly to the trust part. Does that make sense?
That goes to the saying in the movies, an overnight success takes time. We just see them signing up or engaging with the message navigator and not, as you said, the benefit breadcrumbs. What did they see? Did they see a post? Did they see an email? Did they see your reply in one of the groups that you're in serving? And did they watch an episode? Did they search for something and find it in YouTube or somewhere linked in that? There's just no way to know how long and where. And they may have
Right.
watched something 6 months ago, and then life happened, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now it's time for me to get back to this online world thingy. Oh yeah, there was that dude or dudette. So I I love how you laid it out again. It's getting tighter and tighter, and it makes so much sense.
Thank you.
And the colors are pretty too.
Like I do my best. So, this here is when you look at this and you're thinking like, how long is this going to take? This is why I like it myself, is because I always visualize this. I visualize this, those three simple, these three simple areas. Where's a better color? I guess here, like, these three simple color, this area is like, well, it's going to shrink. It's going to expand. It's going to be different for every single person. But I know that they need to go through each one of these phases, or like they're never going to get anywhere. Because a lot of times we try to bring people that come into our world right over here, right? Day number one. And then we try and bring them, right down to here. Like, trust me, go buy my thing.
Yep.
And that doesn't work. It rare. I mean, it does every once in a while, but that's what everybody tries. So I'll leave it to you, and I'll leave it to the crew. If you have any questions or comments, or let's just get into the discussion.
The rarity you're talking about is what everybody has been led to believe that this digital economy is about. That I can run a bunch of ads, drive a bunch of traffic, and find those people who will buy within a short period of time of receiving the first contact. When that's just that's too frantic. It's too manic. I think I told you I met a fellow the other day, and we talked about it last week. And the only thing I could put is he's manic in he's doing everything and nothing at all, instead of focusing on this and allowing this to happen. And there are people that, I got to make money tomorrow. Okay, figure out how to make money tomorrow. I get it, but this is the simplest, easiest way to do it. I've been doing this for 46 years, and I've seen a lot and done a lot. And this just makes it rinse and repeat and show up and get better and deeper. And I like it.
Any questions about it? And even from the crew, from your watching, if you have any questions or you want some clarity on some things of the area, let me know. Put it into the comments. I'd love to know what your thoughts are and how it maybe applies to you.
So, Joey, I'm looking at this is obviously the three pillars, the foundation of what you do, and tying those into their buying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you can get somebody, like you said, in number two to ascend pretty quickly, but that's the rarity. Unless you're wanting to live a not dream life, unless you want to launch things every other week and be exhausted and then have to do it all over again and over again and over again and over again.
Yeah. Like sometimes, you have watch, you have this one, which is engage. And then this is trust. And then, like, I think more the curve would go like this. That's how it goes. It's not it's not this other linear path like it's, this way. It goes like, it's a slow, hockey stick type of thing.
Yeah.
Is the way it goes. So any, like, how do you apply this and how do you apply it? Or can you give us insight on that? Or do you want some more?
I'll give you a perfect example. We talk about time. I had helped somebody, gosh, 4.5 years ago. And was when I was, playing with jumping on Zooms and helping people with copy or funnels or marketing or whatever it was. And that was like 4.5 years ago. And a few weeks ago, we were just chatting a little bit, and she needed some clarity on something. and we jumped on a very short call just to give her some clarity because I knew where she needed to be by asking some simple questions like, what kind of questions, Scott? The message navigated type questions. Oh, you mean they actually work? Yeah, they actually do. We don't need you here, Joey. We can have this conversation all by herself. But it got to the point where she messaged me back and it was like, God, thank you so much for the other night. It gave me so much clarity. Okay. She's at a point now, and I'm not selling her anything in that,
Yeah.
but I've served her. I've served her. I've served her. She's watched. She's engaged. She knows what I do. She follows some of my stuff. She comments here and there on something. And that's how it just effortlessly flows. And if that's what we're doing with the 4% multiplier, and we're focusing on getting out there, people are going to start seeing us. And when they're ready, they engage and we go from there.
I think that what's important to know here is that with these stages again, I should draw one with these already in there, so I don't have to keep on drawing these things. You have this, and then trust. And let's do some fancy colors again because I like to see the colors. And this one here, which is trust. And what happens is that like what you just said, somebody might think that if they've gone from see here, if they've gone from like watch to engage, that the next stage is this, and that's not true. It could be, but that's what everybody wants to think, or that we're sold. There's a linear path, even though this is a linear path, but that's not really what happens. I find that a lot of people live within this zone. Like they continue to circle. So they engage with you, they get on your clarity call, or you serve that person, but then this is where the expectation comes in, or I'm not saying your expectation, but like that's where that expectation conversation comes in. It was like, oh, okay, well I did this now. Then the next phase obviously is for them to trust me and buy my thing. And that's where this is where I used to be. I'm like, this is what's supposed to happen. They're supposed to trust me and buy. And that's what I let go of. I'm like, no. So they engaged and maybe they continue to engage, or then maybe they sit back and they go back to watch now. And they're just going to watch for another little while or another year or whatever. What do you think?
I fully agree with you that we have to live in those first two. We can't expect anybody to trust us. It goes back to the expectancy versus intention, Jeffrey. And we can't expect it. Sure, there's an intention there that if they watch us and engage with us, that over time, if we're not, I don't need to use the term anymore, we beat it to death. But people are going to say, well, you're not like everybody else. You're not that sleazy, hypey, cheesy, trying to sell me all the time. You're actually, I'm getting to where I might trust you. Because what we have to remember, Joey, is it's kind of like anytime we sell anything to anybody. Years ago, people just open arms. I got money, sell me stuff. Now it's like, try sell me something now. Because we've been taken advantage of. We'd spent money with things that didn't promise to do what it said. And now we're like, and there's too much fraud and there's too much all this crap out there now that everybody has to be real careful. They can't trust immediately anymore. And especially with the online world of all the crap and all the bleh that's out there, the throttle marketing and bro marketing, and beat the living daylights out of people until they either unsubscribe or buy. This is a much easier, loving, heart-centered, gentle way. And the more people that you bring in, that's all you have to do is you have to be out there so people come in. They raise their hand, practice Seth Godin. They stand in line and you qualify them, and then they come in. Then you tell them what to do over time. Then they'll trust you. But it's not going to be, well, I did this, and then they trust me in 3 emails. I doubt it.
Collie says this makes everything complicated so simple. Thank you. And does come down to commitment and repeat, rewind, repeat. Because we never know who's watching. That's right. That is so right. And I think the way you just said triggered something about, you know, that when you have, if you follow this, if you are open to believing that people are in this zone all the time and they're watching, and you're still serving, and you're putting your breadcrumbs out over here, right? All these things, your value breadcrumbs and all these things, then people are coming into your world. Like, that's the whole thing. More people are coming in, more people are watching, but you can't see them. But some of these people in here are moving to the engage stage. And this is where I think the engage stage, this is why I wanted to do this today too, because I love unpacking this stuff with you and everybody, because it makes me think a little bit deeper on what's going on. I think that this just came to me, that the engage stage is the most dangerous one for us. It's the danger zone. Because if we are desperate, expecting, this is where we could totally screw it up. Because we have no idea how long people have been watching. And like you just said, that they've not trusted people, and they still don't trust us in the engage stage. That's why it's not right. They still don't trust us. They might trust us a little bit. They're like beginning to, but not fully. And you have no idea. So it's kind of like that saying, what's the saying of the reputation? You build up a reputation for like 30 years and you can blow it in 3 minutes or something like that. It's the same thing. You could be doing so much great value over here. People are watching you, and then they're in the back of the room, and they kind of move to the middle of the room. They kind of put their hand up to ask a question, and then you sell them. And they're like, oh my God, right? And then they're gone.
Blew it.
Yeah, they're gone.
That's it. Blew it, gone, done. Yeah. Click, they're gone. It's that simple. Click, they're gone. It's not like the old days where you could walk into their business and come back next week and next week and next week. It's like there is no coming back.
Yeah, so if that's true, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I like what you came to this with the danger zone, that it really is, because we do get complacent, and it goes back to expectation versus intention.
Yeah. So now if we clear this up again, because it'll be a mess. Oh, now I don't want to create a template. Goof. I want to clear this guy.
You want to unmess your mess.
Yeah. So if we, have these 3 zones, watch, engage, and trust, and we know that people are, navigating in this zone, and as more people are coming in, then that's cool, because in my mind it would be, it's kind of like that flywheel that Jim Collins talks about. Like, I don't have to continue to keep on building things because it's automatically happening, but I'm focused on the engagement piece of it, and I'm hoping for trust. I'm hoping they trust me, not expecting. I'm hoping and wanting. There's a difference between wanting and expecting. I want everybody to trust me. I want everybody to buy Atlas. I want that because I know I can change their world, but I don't expect it. I hope they do, and I want them to, but there's a difference. So I'm focused on how do I continue to keep them engaged so that it gets them to want and trust me so that I can do my job and change their life, make it easier, and do all the things that I promise, right? And so if I know that, then what's the cool part about this is all of this area here is kind of on autopilot, right? And that's why I'm saying to you, that's, why that whole conversation about expectations and all that stuff really triggered me, because I know that for the last 4 years, this is what's been happening. And that now the people that when I put out an offer to Atlas or something, they've moved through this stage on their own, and they're the ones putting up their hand to say, yes, I trust you. I'd love to go into Atlas now. And so to me, if I just looked at this, if I just looked at this one area here, then I would say, oh yeah, this is so easy. I just put out an offer and I get people to buy. No big deal. If I just focused here, if I just talked about that, and I could talk just about that because it is actually true. But you know what I mean? So that's why I don't have this expectation of people doing what to buy from me, is because I know that they're coming through and eventually they'll get here. But I'm focused on this. Go ahead.
I just want to touch on a piece here.
Yeah, love it.
They can go from phase 1 watch, phase 2 engage to phase 3 trust. That doesn't mean they're buying yet.
That's right. That's a big point. Yeah.
Because it could be, yeah, I've been watching you engage. I trust you, Joey, but you know what? I'm still working a full-time job. I don't have time. It's not the right time yet. I'm still trying to get the money together, though it won't kill me while I'm getting it done. There's a multitude of other things that I just wanted to throw into the mix, that just because they trust you, they may not be able to at that moment buy.
100%.
I mean, I told you that I committed to a moratorium for a month of don't help anybody for free, don't fix anybody for free, don't spend anything that you don't necessarily need, and don't learn anything brand new. And it was just a fun thing I was playing with. And there is a product that I want to get. And I said to them, can I get it when this thing is over?
When are you going through that now?
What's that? Yeah, right now.
Oh, so wait a minute. I'm going to call you out. So you read a book and you learned something new.
Okay. I had been
doesn't that count?
No, because I was not learning anything new when I was reading the book. I was clarifying where I was my first year of life, which was, what is my product? What is my offer? And this was part of that. And so there. But basically thank you, Joey. The point I was making was, I'm going to buy it, but not right at this moment. And if they kept throttling me over and over again, I don't know, I may have gotten pissed off. I may have you know what, maybe I really don't want this. Instead of, they said, yeah, sure. When you come to 20th, fine. Still be here for you. We'll save a copy for you. I'm like, okay, a copy of the digital download, right? No.
Yeah.
It's actually, there's a thud piece involved as well. But again, that there's so many different things, and it could be they're in the middle of a buying decision and they get into a fight with their partner, or the kid falls down and scrapes their knee, or the 10,000 things we have no clue. And then they don't get back to it for like a month or two later because life really happened. Just because we think we can save their lives and that we want and hope they buy it, it's totally number 3. Pillar, solid, foundation, respect their time.
Yeah. So cool. Want to talk a little bit about the beliefs? Because I think we haven't touched on that. So let me actually, I'll draw I'll draw another clearer picture just to make it a little bit easier.
Good, because that one was getting messy and I was having trouble following along. Could you work on the arcs a little more on this one?
Oh God, please, man. I'm not going to worry about it.
There you go. There it is. You get better.
Watch, engage. And this is trust.
Why don't you make this a template right now?
That's what that's what. Did you not hear me 10 minutes ago? I gotta make this a template, so I don't have to keep drawing this stuff.
I hear you, but I was like, okay, you're here now. This is the template.
What part of I gotta make this a template did you not understand 10 minutes ago?
I thought you could just do it right now, like boom.
I could, yeah. Actually, you're right. So I take that back. So here,
that's what I meant, because you're going to redo this 3 more times anyway.
So I'll make this a copy right now. Copy that.
And then you make a pretty one
And
later.
then I'll paste it over there. I can make that a
Ah,
template, whatever. Uh,
good. Thank you. Feel
delete that.
better now.
Okay. Anyway, let's go back to this one here. Okay. Sarcasm at its best. Here we go.
Ta-da! Ding, ding,
So
ding.
this here
Sarcasm.
is about old beliefs. Old and actually, they're. I shouldn't say. I think they're current. Actually, they could be old as well.
No, current and old. Well, yeah, you're right. Current and old, because
Yeah.
some of the old ones are still current, but they're old ones that are current.
Yeah.
As opposed to, old ones are probably limiting beliefs with self, and current beliefs could have to do with just the world, the economy, online. So we could play around with this because there's a lot of different stuff going on. There is the personal beliefs, emotional beliefs, as
So let's
opposed
talk about
to
it.
business, money beliefs.
Yeah. Let's
Self,
talk
all
about it.
that stuff. There's a lot going on here.
So, what are your thoughts around it?
Well, again, they're watching, and it's like, okay, I've been taught this way my whole life that this X, Y, and Z. I've been taught I have to do this and that and that, and now this dude's telling me it's different. I've been in the online marketing world for since it began, and everybody's told me do this, this, and this, and build funnels and throttle them and deadline funnels and this and that and that. And now this dude's telling me, wait, no, stop doing that. And I'm like, well, but I've learned this. It's a belief, or somebody gave me messages about money that I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm an imposter. Why should somebody pay me this? Blah, 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 blah. All that crap. And they're watching you and wherever they're seeing you in the different social media platforms throughout the multiverse. And they're like, I'm watching this stuff. It makes sense. I like it, but I don't know if I can believe it. Now we get into the chain of beliefs a little bit because there's a lot of emotions going on here
Right.
that we've got to tie into. Go.
That's why it's there. The beliefs, because it's so important about the belief system and what they need to believe in order to buy from me. Because and so this is the why this structure is here as well. As you can see, the beliefs. These are the old ones. They go into the new beliefs, and then they're at the buying stage because they have to believe these new beliefs in order to buy. That's why it's there on the graph. But what are the like current beliefs? And for us, it's when they're watching, like you just said, like if they have these old beliefs. I remember just the example that comes to mind for me is when I went into real estate investing and I didn't know anything about it, and I sat literally at the back of the room and I just watched. I didn't engage. I didn't ask questions. I didn't go into the forums, or I was in the forums, but I was reading and I wasn't doing anything until a year later, where I was at the front of the room. And then a year and a half later, I was on stage. Like, you know what I mean? It was a progression of me moving into, I am comfortable here. But when I look back at that, now that I'm thinking about that, there was one thing that was very prevalent.
Oh my God, tying it all together, Joey, bringing it full circle, right back to commitment.
Right? I was committed to investing and building wealth and learning it and all that stuff. So I was, if you want to look at it from the salesperson's side, an easy sale, but it wasn't immediate. It was an easy sale because I was completely committed to learning as long as the right person came along and the right programs and all these other things. Right. So if I look at that, if we look at it from that point of view, and you have people that are committed, I don't think we know that they're committed yet either. If they're in the watching stage,
Nope.
obviously, because we can't see them.
There's Joey. There's two different levels here in this phase one with beliefs, because you could have this is somebody, again, we've talked about, has these issues and limiting beliefs and stuff they've been through. You could have somebody come in here that's an educated person that's like, look, okay, I'm sick and tired of all the crap out there. This really looks good. I'm going to watch for a little bit. I don't even know if I need to engage because I'm watching it make sense to me, and I've been there, done that. I'll look at something and I don't need to watch that much. I don't really have to engage. but you got to get me to trust you by me watching a little bit. So, again, it depends on where we're at and where the person comes in with Atlas with group coaching program. It takes a while. Somebody might be like, look, I really need to find this thingy to help me get better. And then they find you because of what you're doing. They watch for a little bit and go, okay, can I trust this person? And so it might jump from the watch to trust to see somebody like, I don't really need to engage. I got to get this thing done. And I'm looking for the best
Yeah, but
solution
they
right now.
well, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure that they really say that to themselves. Like they say, I don't know. I don't need to engage. I want to go and buy this thing.
No, they
I think
wouldn't
that
say
an
that.
engagement from our point of view, our side, Scott, is that when they reach out or they send an email and say, "Hey,
Right.
tell me about the next cohort or whatever," that's an
Yeah.
engagement. They don't necessarily say, "Oh, I'm going to move to engagement now," right?
Right.
They're just
Oh,
doing
fully
it. Like
agree.
they
Yeah.
have to engage.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can buy something, unless I'm wrong, from us without engaging with us in some way, shape, or form. And it could very well be just going to a sales page and clicking a button and buying, but that's still an engagement.
Oh, right. Oh,
Correct?
okay. Jeffrey's got a long one here. You ready?
I just saw it come through. You mean he has a long comment?
Yes. Thank you for clarifying. Jeffrey has a long comment.
All right, I'll let you read it.
I spoke with a friend of my sister a week ago who has built an online weight loss membership program for women with over 3,600 members at $35 a month over the past 6 years. Sounds like a headline. Um, as she explained to me how she marketed her own personal program that she, one second here, trying to
Personally
read some
lost.
she personally lost over 125 pounds. Now she wants to help other women start their own similar program, but she thinks they won't make it because she only has had the success she has had is because she got in onto Facebook ads before they started to change their algorithm and change their prices. However, after she explained her commitment, support structure, and simple but effective program she did exactly what you're explaining right now and followed the three pillars. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It's just, you look at anything that's been built over time, it's using this model.
Yeah, exactly. What happened to my? There we go. I closed the wrong thing. So there we go. Cool. Go back to this here. So the beliefs. I want to dive a little bit into the beliefs because this is one thing that changed a lot of things for me. Alone, understanding what people need to believe, and allowing them to come out of their old beliefs or let them go themselves, and they do that by watching us, like what you just said. And that's why it's so important to understand your dream client. We've been talking about that for 3 years, and it's not just it's just not just a topic all the time. It's really who are they and what are they believing right now, and what can you do in the world on a consistent basis that helps them remove an old limiting belief or the current belief that they have. What can you do? Which is not the sales process, right? This is not the time to sell here. It's more about how do I help them remove all of this,
Right.
and however you do that.
Well, and as you said, Joey, you do it. We're going to bring up dream clients because without understanding them and it and their beliefs and their situation, then it doesn't matter how long people watch or engage, you're not going to trust you because you're really not helping them. And I told you that years ago when I was presenting to the wedding and event industry, I interviewed 100 brides and I just asked them about their experience with vendors and what they wanted and why they wanted it. And I got so deep into it, which is what we do. When I got in front of these wedding professionals all over the country, I told them things that they had no clue about. They did not know how to speak to her, to speak to him, to write to them, what to offer, how to do it. All I did was did what they could have done. I just spent the time doing it. And that's where in this piece we do all the learning and we do
Yeah.
all the research. And they're watching us put it out there. And anybody that's not on Joey's email list, opt in for every single thing he puts out there. Because over time, within a couple of years, you'll have more stuff that you can put out your own program and call it Atlas Shrug or
Thanks,
something.
man.
No, it's just it makes it so much easier to do when you're just out there learning more about your dream client, more and more and more, and learning their beliefs so that you can be like, oh my God, that's me. And he probably can help me. So let me watch for a little while. Let me soak up more of this juice that he's giving me. Let me drink the Kool-Aid because it's good Kool-Aid, not the bad Kool-Aid. I
Yeah.
got to get rid of the other crap along the way. And then maybe, like you said, I'll move up to the middle of the audience and maybe I'll hesitantly raise my hand. Then all of a sudden I'm off to the races.
Well, let's talk about the middle piece because, like, this another piece just came here to my mind of like we have the danger zone, and if you're just tuning in, the danger zone is when somebody begins to engage or replies to your email or whatever it is. You've tracked them because they went to your sales page and they didn't buy or whatever, and you're sending them a whole bunch of bulldoze emails that says, "Why didn't you buy, man?" That's danger because they've been watching for who knows how long, and then you just totally screw up the relationship. But there's also an opportunity. This is also an opportunity zone. And the reason I say this is because the people who have the current beliefs, the limiting beliefs, who have been watching you move into the engagement, and they begin to engage and ask questions, feedback, all this other stuff. And that is our opportunity to help the people who are still watching. And that's why, like by answering questions, by serving, and that's why that is part of this zone or this pillar. Serving, not selling, right? So, like, as I'm unpacking all this as we go today. Like, this is not something where it's like, okay, here's the scheme. Here's how we're going to do this, right? But I like unpacking this because then, yeah, I can teach this now as a quote unquote process, if you want to call it that. But it's not one of those linear processes. It's not one of those formulas. This happens first, then this happens second. It's just a way to look at it and say to yourself, okay, this is what's going on right now, especially on the low days, especially on the low months when there's nothing you think is happening. This is all happening, all of this, right? What do you think?
Yeah, there is no way this can be linear. There's too much going on. And even in the left side with the beliefs part, that is, now we could draw a line from here over to chain of beliefs and
Yeah,
start to talk about how do we deliver those first few parts of the chain of beliefs in the emotional part, because that's a lot of what has to change with people is the emotional connection with whatever's going on. And so that just becomes like the cartoons, the old doodle videos where the hand would just move it to the next screen over. You'd be like, okay, and now we'll go to here. You'll have this like big spider web, everything interwoven.
yeah. All this, Scott, is the chain of beliefs.
Right.
It's part of it. Like I don't put it in the chart because I'm just like, okay, that's a whole other thing to talk about. But part of Atlas or part of what I talk a lot about is the chain of beliefs. And then when, especially someone who's in Atlas, and like the question is, how long is this all going to take? Then as soon as I draw in the old beliefs and the new beliefs, they get it. They're like, okay, this is part of the chain of beliefs. And all you're doing is it's related to serving and selling. And the new belief is all related to buying. Like these ones are related to buying. But what do you think about this area?
The opportunity zone
Mm-hmm.
or the danger zone?
Both of them. Did I explain it
Well,
right? Or do you need more
you,
clarity on it? Or what are your thoughts?
you explained danger zone very well earlier. I think you need a little bit more on opportunity zone on how
The
it's the
the
flip.
opportunity is because people are engaging and asking questions or challenging you on something, then your opportunity is to respond to this engagement. Let's just call it a post. And your opportunity is to showcase your knowledge, your opinions, and the superpower matrix comes into play here and all that. I don't want to go down another rabbit hole, but it's like, okay, this person is engaging. Let me help them because if you go right away into the zone, into the mindset of, okay, now I can sell this person, that's the danger zone you don't want to do. But if you look at it from, this is an opportunity for me to help this person even more, and I hope and want them to move to trust, right? So this is my opportunity to do that while I am serving and selling, serving, not selling. And it's also helping the people who are not engaging because they're watching, they're reading it. Those are the people that we can't see. Those are the dream clients in training, right? These are the DCITs, the dream clients in training. They're watching. They're watching the engagement. They're watching the video. They're watching the coaching, whatever. They're watching the response. And that's the opportunity that we have to move people we can't see into the engagement phase. And the process continues
So
all the time.
in
Yes,
the
sir.
engagement phase, and we were talking before we got on the live about a couple of the message navigator chats you've been having in the past couple of weeks and how they're going. No, nothing shared, no details, just comments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another important piece in here because that's an opportunity and a danger zone right there. It's a two-edged sword, what we were talking about, where in that engagement piece, somebody reaches out or emails and you start a conversation, there's a danger of jumping too fast into,
Oh yeah,
well, let
for
me
us.
show you
Yeah.
Alice. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
it's,
That's where I see
you
a
have
lot of.
to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's where people are like, okay, so that do I send him to the Google Doc now? Do I send him the offer now? I was like, no, just like chill and get to where you need to, and then again, how you just make it simple. That that's a big challenge. Is somebody engaged with me now? I got to take them through the whole thing. It's almost like I have to get to the finish line instead of let me ask the question, see what they answer, and then ask another question. There's not a finish line until they get to a point where it's like, okay, I not because that's a big piece of that trust. I know with you is people always say you didn't try and sell me on the call,
Yeah,
whereas a lot of them are, on a discovery call and a clarity call and a thingy call, and at the end it's a sales thing. Instead of, I hope I was able to give you clarity. Let me know. Boom. Or whatever it is. You need some help with that. Okay. Now let me show you the private Google Doc. But not, again, I hope that, I want that, but not an expectation, an intention of hope and want, faith, and all that good
yeah.
stuff that goes with it.
You kind of opened up another thought here as you're talking because now we can turn this whole model around. We could look at this from our perspective or from us going through it, where we are watching people in our tribe, we engage with them, and do we trust them? At least this is how I do it. Like because I think even Rebecca put in the group. I don't know if you saw that picture of you know saying like you protect the Google Doc. Like that's what I tell everybody now is like it's not a sales page where you send everybody. You're trying to get as many people as possible. It's more of a this is in a secret vault, and I'm only going to allow the right person. I'm only going to give the right people the code. So
Did
if
you
you look at
jump? Yeah. did you qualify? Did you jump through enough hoops to to get to that point? Again, that's Seth Godin's practice stuff. Do they
Yeah.
qualify to deserve to you? And I don't mean this in a conceited,
No.
grandiose way. We have to protect our knowledge assets, and we can't waste it because we don't get it back. And to do this right the first time, and I think it makes it so much easier.
It's all about protecting the tribe for me.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So that
Yeah.
if I don't trust, someone can engage with me, and maybe I've watched them before, and their interactions are somewhere else. And this goes back to even like Joe Polish when he's looking at anybody, the relationships or something like that, and he'll look at how you treat other people. He'll look at how you treat his employees and things like that. And that tells him who you are, the character that you are. You know what I mean? So I'm heavily invested or committed to the character, to like protecting all of that and being the character, being the right person so that I don't screw up like all the things I've built over the last 45 years or whatever, right? I've made a whole bunch of mistakes, and the last little while it's been really, really great. And so I don't want to do that. And I'm always learning about like just treat people like you've heard the whole thing, treat people on the bottom of the ladder because you're going to meet them on the way back down, right? Treat them like respect. And that's the whole thing
Joey,
about this.
you know how you get into an Ivy League school, right? You don't walk up to the front gate and say, "Hi, I'm here." You got to go through tests and processes and applications and meetings and that before they'll decide to let you in. Well, when you do finally get in, they've curated a
Hmm.
tribe of who they want in their Ivy League school. And people want to get in there because it's a place to be. People want into the Heart Centered Marketing Club because it's a safe place. Conversations the past week about it being that somebody was going to get off Facebook, but then realized I wouldn't have connection to my tribe, so I have to keep that, and that's what we build, and that's what you build with that, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
You have you don't need a lot of people. You
No.
don't.
So I don't know what your thoughts are on this, or anybody listening to this right now, like what your thoughts are on now you looking at this and looking at your dream clients or your tribe, and you're in the stage of watching, you're in the stage of engaging, and do you trust them enough to move them forward through to your process? Because to me it's so important that we make that decision, Scott, at the beginning. And this is a big part of what I teach everybody. Like when it's about curation from day number one. You do the
It's
best you can.
it's huge. You've heard over the years, uh, time vampires, window lickers, tire kickers, the different terms
Window
used.
lickers. I haven't heard that one.
Window lickers, tire, yeah, uh, that will waste your time because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
They're time vampires, they're window lickers, and they're tire kickers. And we've got to really go like you just showed and said, I'm going to watch you and see how you engage with the tribe and me and my team before I trust you to come into my world and give you my bandwidth, my zone of genius, my energy. And not in a conceited way,
No.
but we have to protect it, Joey, because we only get so much of it, and we can only help those that truly believe in and want to. I remember Jason Moffat saying in a post a way back, it was like, if you're not willing to spend 6 months in social media to build and curate, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to go on Facebook today, and we're going to do this, and that, and that, and I'm going to blow it up. It takes time.
Well, remember what we were talking about just before we went live. Now that I'm thinking about this is exactly what I'm doing, right? Is watching the
Yeah,
engagement thing and deciding, is this
yeah.
right? Is this the right thing to move along, right? So I'm doing exactly that process now.
You're looking at it and saying that's a red flag. I don't know. rather
Yeah.
than, oh my God, I got one. I got a live one. How can I sell them? Did you buy yet? Wow. Rather than, I'm not really sure yet. Let me ask you a couple more questions here. I don't think so. I'm
Yeah.
not. You know, like you go to a high end jewelry store. You know, unfortunately, if you had a backpack and beat up and hadn't showered in a couple of days, they wouldn't buzz you in the door.
Right.
Okay, you didn't qualify. Not there's anything wrong with you. The same thing is we've got to be real discerning about who comes in.
Yep. 100%. So there you go, my friends. There is the buyer's timeline. I'm hoping that you enjoyed it. Here's another quick look at the whole mess that we drew out at the beginning of the process. If you have any questions after, if, germinates, and so like, hey, what about this part of it? Let us know. Put that in the comments because we come back all the time. If you're here at #live or #replay, let us know in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed today's conversation. Scott, any final words before we let go of
No,
another?
thank
Wow, we're going to be in
I,
June next month
yeah,
or
I
next week, I should
enjoyed
say.
I enjoyed what the thing that will be formally known as the buyer's timeline will become in the next iteration. So it grows up to whatever, but I love the way it's growing and morphing, and it ties everything together so beautifully and perfectly, and just embodies the whole premise and concept of yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Cool.
We
Thanks
will
for
see
allowing me to be
everyone,
here.
as always, my friend. We will see everyone next week for another show of Marketing Made Easy. And that'll be the June edition starting. So I'll see you then.